Hello, here I am, Catherine Massell, intuitive energy healer, ascending earth creatrix. Hello, happy Sunday, and for those of you watching in the group Ascending Earth Creatrix, welcome to the last day of the Leading with Light online assembly. I want to again thank all of the people who are participating in the event, who have participated in the event and shared with us in a live, and I want to thank those who are going to go live later today. Hi, Angela. And thanks all of you for watching, for checking out all the ladies showcasing the finest parts of themselves for this event. Thanks for watching the replays. Thanks for watching live and sharing your comments and your thanks for those ladies that did show up in the group. I am going to do this again. I would like to do this as a quarterly event in here, just to kind of refresh the vibe and get everybody knowing who everyone is and what we do, how we share, creating community. We'll do it around Christmas time, because I know a lot of you spiritual entrepreneurs in here have offers around Christmas time. Probably do it as a Cyber Monday event, maybe. We'll see. Let's see, I'm going to share this in my group real quick, because I'm on my business page. Okay, shared. So, I have something to share with you today that is not only extremely illuminating, but is a real passion project of mine right now, to help specifically spiritual entrepreneurs understand more about the money game they're playing, which is this kind of dysfunctional love-hate relationship with money. It's this kind of cat and mouse with money, and we think that we're playing this game with money, but we're actually playing the game of money with ourselves. And I'm going to explain why that is in just a minute. So the energy of money, and I have a special offer for this that I put in my business page, on my business page, but I also put it in Ascending Earth Creatrix. There's 5 spots open. You have to book before the 28th to get $50 off on the Rewrite Your Money Story session that I do. It's specifically tailored for spiritual entrepreneurs who are trying to change their money game and rewrite their money story. And it can be used for someone who's not a spiritual entrepreneur as well. But it's specifically designed and catered to those ladies who are having this dysfunctional love-hate relationship with money in their business. And it's been really powerful. I've done, let's just see, 7 sessions this month, and they've been incredibly powerful. The shifts happen right away. It's a 75-minute session, but you get a PDF booklet of all these exercises that you can go back to again and again and again. Every time you're asking to reach a new income threshold in your business, these exercises will help you. They are all designed to meet you wherever you're at energetically with money. So there's that. The energy of money. Energy is energy is energy is energy is energy. Money is just energy. When we came here as infinite beings and knew we were going to have a human experience, we knew that energy was the clay with which we would mold everything that is part of our experience here in this dimension, here on Earth. Energy is something that is here for us as our tool. Energy works for us. In and of itself, energy is just neutral. It has no distinct characteristics of its own other than what we project upon it. Energy is just energy. It is neutral. It has no real polarizing force of its own. It doesn't have its own thoughts or beliefs. Energy is just energy. Money is just energy. It's just another form of energy. But when you think about the word money, just think about that word for a second. What does that mean to you? What kind of feelings well up within you when you think about money? Just when you think about the word, what springs to mind? Do you automatically feel this expansiveness in terms of all the things that this energy can provide for you when you learn how to mold it specifically to your needs? Or do you feel rather contracted in your energy? Do you think of all the ways that you don't have it? All the ways that it doesn't support you currently? All the ways that it has done its best to underserve you for a lifetime? Everything that you feel, think, believe, and the subsequent stories that you create around those thoughts and feelings around money, that has been what you've projected on money for a lifetime. And to be fair, because money is such a highly charged, potent, powerful energy, and we equate money with power, don't we? So we have that correlation with it. That for lifetimes, this has been probably something that we have felt has eluded us. So we're carrying karmic contracts over, which are now being dissolved. And if you listen to Katrina Armstrong's live yesterday talking about, a lot of the outdated structures that now have nowhere to go, because as we move into 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D, and beyond, these power structures that are holding the karma are not supported in these higher dimensions, in these higher vibrational planes and dimensions. So that's why all of this stuff is coming up to be resolved finally. A lot of the stuff that we've been holding on to, not only in this lifetime, but we've been holding on to the karma of it, the traces of that karmic residue, of those loop cycles of behavior, they're all coming up to be cleared now. This is no coincidence. This is why I feel so passionate right now about teaching spiritual entrepreneurs specifically and guiding them through, not even teaching them so much, but guiding them through this process of seeing exactly what it took me so long to see about money, that it's just an energy. And it truly is just the composite of everything that I've projected on it, from limiting beliefs from this lifetime, and to be fair, probably many others as well. And we often talk about, as healers, the fact that we maybe feel like having money or having these conversations around money. And I wish that some of my earlier teachers, healing teachers, mentors, spiritual mentors, had talked to me about the energy of money. Because it seems like it has been such a taboo subject for so long that to be wealthy and spiritual are somehow mutually exclusive, that there's some sort of divine, righteous trait of being in poverty and yet being in service to mankind, doing healing work. I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. There are a lot of women and men who are doing spiritual work, who are spiritual business owners, spiritual entrepreneurs, healers, who are making a lot of money. Not one of them will tell you that it's not spiritual to be wealthy. Not one of those people will tell you that. And the ones that are holding on to this idea that if you're spiritual, you shouldn't think about money, you shouldn't think about accumulating wealth, they are stuck in a paradigm. We're talking about those structures that are no longer supported as we move forward into the higher dimensions. They are stuck in a paradigm of confinement, of rigid confines of what money and power means. Because here's what happens as we move into 5D. We get to redefine everything. And I mean everything. We especially get to redefine money. And we have assigned, the thing that we think about often when we think about money is we correlate that with an amount of power. But we think of it in this very rigid 3D confine of, if you have money, that means you have power to wield over others. That is a very 3D definition of money and how that correlates with power. But here's my definition of money in 5D. That money does equal power, but it's the power to serve many more people. It's the power from which we feel empowered because we have all the financial support that we need. We no longer need to marinate in feelings of lack and sacrifice and struggle and suffering. That somehow that makes us closer to God if we're suffering in this way as a healer, okay? Again, part of outdated power structures around healing, around money. There's so many things wrapped up in that. Money in 5D means that we are empowered to serve many more people. To serve from a place where we have this higher perspective. Because when we are not marinating in feelings of lack or scarcity, and even blame and resentment and guilt about not having enough money, or shame because we do have money, if we're not having to worry about any of that garbage, and that's not taking up valuable real estate within us, think about how much energy, time, attention, and focus we can give to the things that really matter, which is using the highest levels of our gifts and talents and abilities to serve the highest good of humanity at this time, to help people with their ascension process. That's what I'm doing, because I am not in those horrible places, and I was there for such a long time, of blame and resentment around money. Like, why does money keep evading me? Why does money hate me? Money doesn't give a shit. I'm going to tell you this right now about any of your feelings of unworthiness, of you undervaluing yourself. Money doesn't care. It doesn't have any energy of its own in terms of thinking about you and your crappy feelings about yourself. Money doesn't care. It's just an energy. Money is only this blank screen that allows the projections of what you have, of how you feel about yourself, about how you feel about the world, to project upon that blank screen. And money will take that on because it's just an energy. Because if you understand what I said earlier, that energy is the clay with which we mold everything here in this dimension. Money serves us because it's an energy, and energy serves us. Energy is our tool. It is our clay here in this dimension to form whatever it is that we wish to create. We are the wielders of energy here. And if money is just energy, you are the wielder of that too. You get to decide how you want to create a new story around money. Because money is such a highly charged thing, we have a lifetime of subconscious programming that is dictating and running the show about how we think about money. That doesn't mean it can't be changed. But it does take some work. It takes some unraveling. It takes some deconstructing. I'm really good at doing this. I love doing this because I'm a natural detective. I like to sleuth things out. I like to look underneath all the layers of stuff. I like to ask the bigger questions. And when I do this kind of work, I'm all business about it because I like to look at all the different things. And so that's why I created the Rewrite Your Money story to teach as a course, but now I'm doing one-on-one work with spiritual entrepreneurs to deconstruct your current money story and to look at the fears that are behind. The fears are the driving forces that keep this money story in our subconscious alive. It doesn't mean it can't be changed, but we need to look at the fears that are driving it and understand that this money story can be changed. And we do, in a 75-minute session, we can do a lot of work. Because I know exactly where to go to the heart of things. Because I hear what you're saying when you talk to me in these sessions, but I also feel and hear the energetic behind them. So I know what fears to go after. I know what beliefs to go after because there's another bottom belief there that we need to get at. A little nugget we need to excavate and remove. And then we rebuild the money story. We recreate one that's a lot more emboldened and empowered than the one you currently have. Because the one you currently have is actually costing you. It's costing you clients. It's costing you a higher quality of life. It's costing you a more expanded experience here on this dimension where we're here to play. This is a giant sandbox where we are here to play. So you get to play with money. You do. It works for you. But we have to change the story around that. So that means looking at the beliefs that you have, the feelings that you have. And a lot of these were brought in at a very early age, usually from the time you're 6, 7 years old. The things that your parents said around money, the people who raised you, maybe it was a grandparent, maybe it was a foster family, maybe it was a guardian, or your parents, your peers, your teachers. Those beliefs that you have about money right now, as an adult, they came in at a very, very young age. And so when those were planted, those seeds were planted in your subconscious does exactly what it's programmed to do. It finds ways to translate ideas into reality. So what got planted as a seed, this idea, became a feeling, became thoughts, became behaviors, and became programs. So we reverse engineer it. We go back. And you can even reverse engineer it by creating new behaviors. That's one way you can start changing your money story right now. And playing with the energy of money in a much more empowered way is start creating new behaviors, which allow you to have different thoughts around money and allow you to have different feelings around money. So you kind of reverse engineer it that way if you want to. But we have very tangible things that we work with in the Rewrite Your Money Story sessions. It's very business-like. It's like, let's look at this, let's look at this, let's look at this, let's get it out of there. How do we change this? What do you need to start doing, acting, so that you're living as if your money story is different, is more empowered? Start looking at that. We start looking at, what did your parents think about money? What do you feel about being a healer and having money? These things are really important to look at. So I'm going to be really vulnerable here. And I'm actually going to share with you a lot of the things that I cleared in my money story. Things that I was holding on to as a healer around money. Disempowering, limiting beliefs that I was holding on to for this lifetime for sure. And from the time I first started out as a healer 17 years ago. And let me just see if I can find it. Hold on a second, I'm finding it. Am I even in the right book? I have all these notebooks full of all my course material, all of the content for client sessions, all of my own healing and journaling work is all in these like 99-cent drugstore notebooks. I'm going through a process right now, going through all of them from this past year because I have like 9 of them. All right, here we go. We're getting close. I swear to God. Okay. So there are 3 questions that you can ask yourself to start figuring this out. Hey, Sarah. Okay, here we go. Are you ready for me to put myself on Front Street here and share with you some of the stuff I had to shift in order to get where I am in my business? Where it used to be, I was doing one of these sessions with someone yesterday, and we were talking about, she asked me, point blank, like, how do you look at the things that need to shift? There are 3 questions that really help you to start picking this apart and start deconstructing your current money story. How much money do you want to make every month? And ask yourself, not how much do I want to make this month? Because it's one thing to make that money that you're asking for 1 month. What you want to do is make it consistently. So ask yourself, how much money do I want to make consistently every month? Because we get into sabotage zone when we start thinking about, okay, well, I can make this money this month. And you might. But then the next month you might be bouncing off shit again and make nothing. I've done that because I wasn't very careful and selective about how I was wording my question to the universe, because you're asking this out loud. You're not just asking yourself. You're asking your higher self. You're asking the universe, who is your co-creator. How much money do I want to make consistently every month? That's your first question. What do I need to shift? Or what do I need to start believing is your second question. What do I need to start believing to make this money? And then the third question is, what needs to shift in order for me to believe that? That is a great start. And so that's where we start in the Rewrite Your Money Story sessions that I do one-on-one. And those of you, Sarah and Angela, you're going to get this PDF tomorrow, because we also do this in Heal, Awaken, Align Bootcamp. Because we are in week 5 and we are talking about upgrading your wealth frequency as a healer and making soul-aligned sales in your business. So this PDF with all these exercises, Sarah and Angela, you're going to get this. I think I'm going to put it in there tonight. So these are the beliefs that I needed to shift to consistently make the money that I was asking for. So when I was with the client yesterday, and she's like, well, how do you shift this stuff? And then I gave her the 3 questions. And she says, well, whoa. What did you need to start looking at? She was asking me very specifically. So I was like, okay, I'll just tell you. I'll tell you what I needed to shift. So I'm going to share this here with you too, okay? Because many of you who are healers and have your own spiritually based business, you will share a lot of these, okay? So feel free to write them down. And then do whatever is in your spiritual toolbox to help clear this stuff. Maybe you do belief work, which is theta healing. Maybe you do EFT tapping. You do the forgiveness prayer, the Ho'oponopono. Whatever that is, whatever is in your spiritual toolbox to help you heal and clear and release, use that. Don't just write these down and marinate in them. Clear it, okay? So these are the beliefs that I needed to shift to consistently make $10,000 months. Right now, I'll be totally honest with you, I'm making between $10,000 and $12,000 months. And yes, it feels wonderful. Because there was a time not very long ago where I was only making, I was like ecstatic when I was having $2,000, $2,500 months. I was like, oh my God, I've made it. I've arrived. And it felt so good. And I'm not discounting that. I'm not diminishing that at all. But for me, I knew that once I hit that, and it was consistent, I was making that money consistently, $2,000 to $2,500 months. I was like, well, if money is just energy, and like I was saying at the beginning of the call, and I get to mold this clay of energy, which is money, and I get to play with it any way that I want to. If I can make $2,500 a month consistently, why can't I make $12,000 a month consistently? So these are the beliefs that I needed to shift to consistently make $10,000 months, okay? In the beginning. Now it's around 12. I'm not talented enough. I'm not business savvy enough. I'm not allowed to make $10,000 a month in my business. And I don't even know where that came from, like who wasn't allowing me, what wasn't allowing me. But that was something that I felt. And when you do this work and you excavate this stuff, when you really get honest about, okay, what beliefs am I holding that are keeping me in this, that are really running counter to what I want to create? Be honest with what's there. Look at that shadow, because you can clear it, okay? Making $10,000 a month in my business is too easy. It's too scammy. Like something about it made me feel like, and this goes back to the bottom belief, which we unravel a lot when I do work with spiritual entrepreneurs. There's a bottom belief that making money is not spiritual. So you'll have beliefs like making $10,000 a month in my business, which is a spiritually based business, is scammy. Okay? You know, I would instantly go to thoughts of like It's like a mega church somewhere in the Midwest where I'm scamming people out of thousands of dollars. But that's how I equated it. But I had to be honest with myself that it felt scammy. It felt icky. It didn't feel good. Why? Because my bottom belief there was that money is not spiritual. Okay? My parents never made that money each month. So that goes down to, chalk that up to, I don't want to outshine my parents. And it could be, my siblings don't make that much money each month. My friends, maybe who are also spiritual entrepreneurs, they don't make that much money each month. I don't want to outshine anybody. And I certainly don't want to be judged. I don't offer enough value for what I charge. And that's definitely not true. But that was something I was holding on to. And that made me look at what was the bottom belief there, was that I wasn't really confident in what I was offering. I am now, because when I offer courses, there's an incredible amount of content and value and valuable content, not just content. It's not just fluff, right? So when you think about each one of these that I'm saying, think about maybe the bottom belief that's there, that lies under that, okay? And the fear that's driving it. Because the fear and how that's rooted into your subconscious will keep that belief alive unless you deal with the fear of it. So also pay attention to where you're feeling this in your body when I say these statements, okay? Because you can clear that too. No one sees what I do. Confidence, right? Visibility. And we work on this quite a bit in Heal, Awaken, Align Bootcamp. I'm charging too much for what I offer. I'm not attracting enough high-paying clients. I don't know what $10,000 a month feels like. That was a huge one. So I did a lot of belief work around, and I did some mindset work too, because you really have to do both. You have to bring things into balance. And in Heal, Awaken, Align Bootcamp and in the Rewrite Your Money story, we balance the energy healing with the mindset, because it's about mind, body, unification, mind-heart unification. If we are moving into 5D and taking our money stories with us, we need to bring these into balance. So you want to look at if that is something that you also believe, I don't know what making $10,000 a month feels like. Think about it this way. You can do some belief work. If you've done theta healing and belief work, what you can do is download Creator's definition of, I know what it feels like, and I know how to create packages that allow me to make $10,000 a month. And do this as a belief download. I also did a lot of mindset work on creating lists of, okay, $10,000 a month. Like, here's a really important way to call money in. I'm going off on a tangent here for a second. What I'm sharing with you ladies is gold, okay? So just know this. When you think about calling in a certain amount of money, give it a job to do. Because remember, energy is energy is energy is energy. We get to mold it. We get to shape it. We get to create it. We are the wielders of it. Money is just an energy. And it is more likely to show up. We're more likely to call it forth if we give it a job to do. Because we are the stewards of energy. We're the ones that give it a job to do. So if you're calling money in, give it a job to do. Figure out what that $10,000 is going to go to down to the penny. And here's a little tip and trick on this as well. I'm giving you ladies gold here, okay? If you're calling in that $10,000 or whatever amount of money feels comfortable for you at this time, and when we work together in the Rewrite Your Money session and in Heal, Awaken, Align Bootcamp, I give you a really powerful tool to help you figure out the energetic of a certain amount of money, and if it feels like it's too much to call in and you might sabotage it, you get to feel into this space energetically. But the $10,000, balance it with, I'm going to spend it on things that are responsible. I'm going to take care of maybe some credit card debt, pay off some people that I owe, get my car fixed because it's not safe for me to drive, a car that needs repairs, or, the things that need to be taken care of, but balance that with really treating yourself. Get a massage, have a spa day, go get a mani-pedi, take your favorite girlfriends to lunch. Do something that's going to be enriching and soul nourishing for you. Because if you're calling this money in and you've got it parceled out for just paying bills and debts and whatever, you won't call it in because it'll feel like that money is punishment. I'm telling you. And I'm telling you that from experience because I've done it. Because I wanted to be responsible. I called a bunch of money in. And then it felt like, well, I don't get to have any fun with this now? This is bullshit. So the next month I sabotaged it because it just felt like if this is just going to go to credit card debt, which is great to pay that stuff off, don't get me wrong. But it felt like none of it really went to me, to like open me up, to make me feel nourished, to make me feel like I was, engaging in some real self-care and congratulating myself and celebrating my victory of bringing in this money. Does that make sense? Do you guys get what I'm saying? So when you figure out that money you're calling in and you parcel it out to the penny, make sure you're balancing it with, I'm being a good girl with it, I'm being responsible, but at the same time, I'm going to have some friggin' fun, okay? Because otherwise you'll sabotage it and you'll find a way not to call it in. That's how powerful the subconscious is, okay? All right. I can't handle $10,000 a month. That was another one. I'll blow it all on stupid stuff, which is another reason why to like parcel that money out and balance it, okay? I'm not attracting my soulmate clients. I'm afraid to be seen and heard. I'm not going to be able to do it consistently. So remember the first thing you ask when you ask those 3 questions. How much money do I want to consistently call in every month? Consistently, meaning every month. It's not enough to just say, I want to make this much money this month. Great. You'll make that much money this month if you're devoted to this and you dedicate yourself to this work. But what about next month? What about the month after? What about the end of the year? Okay? I'm not going to be able to do it consistently. It's too hard to make $10,000 every month. I had to really look at, okay, well, what am I offering? Do I have the services, the packages, the programs in place to call that money in? And am I being visible enough, getting myself out there, getting the word out, making offers consistently, and having soul-aligned sales calls with clients, which is what we talk about this week in Heal, Awaken, Align Bootcamp, by the way. So sales felt really icky to me. Marketing felt really icky to me because I was asking someone to pay me. That felt horrible and out of alignment for me until I got it in alignment, until I started to reframe the idea of sales and that they could be soul aligned, meaning they're aligned with my soul and they're aligned with the soul of who I'm asking to work with me. It changed the perspective on it. So then when I felt like I had those things in place and it felt good to be visible and to make offers and to make sales that felt aligned with my integrity as a healer, that I was offering value, I had confidence in the content of my services, that it felt like, okay, then yes, I can consistently make $10,000 every month and more. And that has been the case. But I had to shift that. I had to do the work to shift that, okay? I don't have enough women in my email list. That's another one. I'm not good at marketing myself. That goes back to what I was just saying. I identify with being poor. Oh man, that was a huge one. I grew up lower middle class. I was a child of the 70s, so we had a fun thing when I was growing up called Layaway. Does anyone know what that is? Give me a heart, give me a thumbs up if you know what Layaway is. Where, we'd go shopping for, my brother and I, my parents would take us shopping for our winter coats in September so that they could put our winter coats on layaway. Right? Meaning my parents would pay, they would show up like every week or so. It was like, I think Kmart, I think Woolworths did it too. Where they'd show up every week and put money down on the coats. Okay? If I wanted a new pair of sneakers, I wasn't getting like the Nikes like the other kids. I was getting like whatever was, the Keds or whatever. And all the preppy girls that I was growing up with, they were getting like cute little handbags and turtlenecks with like whales on them and stuff like that. And, cute little outfits and stuff. I had to beg for that stuff. I had to beg for it. So from the time I was very young, I grew up with this idea of I am poor. I come from a family that is poor. So you better believe I had a lot to shift around. My parents won't be proud of me if I make $10,000 a month. They'll think I'm scamming people. I had to unravel and look at a lot of shit around that. A lot. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that this stuff is easy. It was painful for me to look at this stuff. And even thinking about it now, like some of the stuff I had to unravel and look at, like the painful memories, because we have a lot of really, really powerful memories around money that act like a timestamp on our money story. And it has such a powerful ripple effect and an energetic that it could be this stamp in time that was like when you were 7 or 8 years old. Like I remember stuff very vividly from when I was 7 or 8 years old around my story around money and how I'm still holding that today, or how I was still holding it until not that long ago. And I had to shift it. I know Layaway. I did it when I was first divorced. Catherine says, Angela says, my mom's a strict on sale discount shopper. Yep. And you know what? Anytime we went grocery shopping, there was like a stack of coupons. And one of my things that I had to do on Sundays when the Sunday paper came and all the coupon circulars were in there, my job on Sunday morning, after I watched my cartoons and had my giant bowl of cereal, was cut coupons. So I remember what that's like, and I remember how much that created like this timestamp on my identity that rippled outward through decades, because I'm 46 now. And until like basically early this year, like March, April, a lot of this stuff didn't shift until then. So we're talking about 40 years, 4 decades worth of an identity of I am poor. It's difficult to shift, but it is possible. And when you do, an incredible amount of potential opens up. Okay, here's some more. You ready? Here we go. I'm getting into it here with you guys. It's unsafe to be wealthy. Okay? And there might be a lot of bottom beliefs around that. It's unsafe to be wealthy. Do you feel like you're going to get robbed? Do you feel like it's unsafe to be wealthy because your family members, your friends will see like, oh, she's making a lot of money every month. We better ask her for a loan. Maybe we better ask her to be a co-signer. You might think that because you're accident prone, you're going to lose that money. Like you'll have too much money in your wallet. You'll leave it on the bus or something like that, right? What is the fear underneath these things that I'm coming up with, ladies? I don't want to make more money because I'll have to spend more money, meaning you'll have more bills, more responsibility. And here's something that I was talking about yesterday when I was doing this client session yesterday with one of the gals that I work with. We were talking about, I was going through this list with her and she was, like, yep, that's me. Yep, that's me. A lot of us as healers will share a lot of this stuff. But I had something really interesting that I don't want to make more money because I don't want more stuff. And this was a really interesting thing for me to uncover because I love my parents, but they are hoarders. Oh, their living room right now is like books and old furniture, and my mom likes to shop on QVC and she likes to search for cute picture frames for her grandkids, and she likes candles, a lot of candles. I swear that living room is a fire hazard, but it's like there's a pathway to navigate through the living room. There is something so terrifying to me about the hoarding mentality, because for me, and because I do a lot of my spiritual work in my home, this is my office here, it's in the upstairs of my house. To me, any physical clutter is spiritual clutter. So there's no piles of like receipts or the only pile of books is like next to my bed, on my bedside table. But I don't let things pile up because I am like devastatingly horrified of hoarding. Is anyone on board with this at all? So for me, I didn't want to make more money because it meant like I had to spend more money on more stuff, accumulate more bills, which meant more receipts, which meant, another pile of pieces of paper or whatever. And I didn't want the responsibility of having to pay more bills. Is anyone jibing with me on that one? I want to hide. I don't want to be visible. I'll be judged. Again, the underlying belief, and I would keep going through this, it's not spiritual to be wealthy. I'm not as good as other women doing what I do. Comparisonitis, right? Feeling like a fraud, feeling like you're an imposter. I'm faking it. Another bottom belief, or another belief on top of the bottom belief of I am a fraud, I am an imposter. Making money online is inappropriate. That was my father talking. Not anymore. And just because I was holding on to these beliefs doesn't mean that any of them were true. In fact, when I finally, I talked to my parents and they're like, you're doing really well. Like, they helped me out a lot with my spiritual entrepreneurship. They helped me out a lot. And so when I was starting to pay them back in bigger chunks of money, they're like, what's going on? I'm like, you know what? I'm just so glad that I can pay you guys back. Like, for a while I was thinking I would never be able to pay you guys back. And now that I can, and then we talked about, the amount of money I'm making, and I asked them point blank, like, do you think it's inappropriate what I do? Like, I know they don't fully understand what it is that I do on a daily basis in my spiritual business, and they don't need to, and that's okay. They know that I'm happier than I've ever been in my life, and that I'm doing something that's soul fulfilling, and they get that, and that's enough for them. But when I asked, like, do you think it's like scammy what I do, or inappropriate or what I do, even though I was holding on to all these beliefs, thinking that I can't do this because my parents will think this, they weren't holding on to any of that stuff at all. So sometimes we've convinced ourselves of these beliefs, and they're not really true at all. But we still have to clear them, because they still hold an energetic within us that is running counter to what we want. Okay? I got a few more. My dad will think it's inappropriate to make money online. Right? That was something I was holding on to. Not true at all. It's too much responsibility. I don't want to be accountable. I was someone that for most of my life, I was pretty anonymous. I kept to myself, small group of friends. I was always the watcher and observer, not much of an engager. I was always the one that's kind of collecting information from what I see, and from being an empath, sometimes it was better to not engage because of things I was reading on people or reading through people, whatever. So it felt good to be, for a long time, in a place where I was hiding. And so when you do this work and you go live all the time, you don't really get to hide anymore. You're very visible. So you have to be comfortable with that. And I had to get comfortable with the amount of responsibility that's involved in being a healer and doing a lot of online work. Making $10,000 a month means I have to keep stepping up. I have to keep being seen. I will be judged. I'll be ridiculed. It'll hurt my reputation. To be in the spotlight is to be judged. I'll be singled out. I'll be hurt. People will find out I'm a fraud. People will find out I'm an imposter. And then I just kind of let it roll. I just kind of let all of the fears that I had, I just kind of let them out. Laid them out in front of me. So that I could see finally all of this resistance. Everything that was running counter to what it is that I was asking to become. And then clearing it. And here's the thing. If you keep asking for more money in your business, if you keep asking to move into a higher threshold of income, you will run into new layers of this resistance. Anyone who tells you that this is a one and done thing, that you deal with this stuff and it's gone, that's a lie. It's a flat out lie. It's not true. Our subconscious beliefs, it's like an iceberg. So we'll chip away at layers depending on where we are at energetically. But the very nature of asking for more means that the universe, in its loving co-creative capacity, as your buddy, as your friend, will lovingly show you, every time you're asking for more, exactly what is in resistance to you getting it. It is your obligation then, it is your responsibility as the wielder and creator of energy here to look at those things, to look at that shadow, to deconstruct it, to unravel it, to look at the fear behind it, to look at the fear that's supporting it, to look at the behaviors that you are embodying every single day that support it, that keep it alive. And it's up to you to change and make different behaviors, create different actions that are supportive of the way that you want to be. So this is what we talk about in Rewrite Your Money Story. And many more things. There's a lot more that we go into. This is just one part of it, what I've shared with you here. So this is really powerful stuff, because it is part of my mission to normalize wealth and abundance for my fellow spiritual entrepreneurs, because I know how powerful that shift can be when you move out of that place of disillusion with money, of feeling that overwhelm, that scarcity, that feeling that, you know, in order to be a healer and to be in your integrity as a healer means you have to suffer or struggle in some way. All of that is bullshit. It really is. And until you call shenanigans on the beliefs that you're holding that support that bullshit, it won't change. So I usually offer this session. It's a 75-minute session, and it's a one-on-one coaching session. You get a PDF booklet of all these exercises that help you to, every time you are asking to up-level to a new income threshold, these exercises will help you. They are evergreen in the sense that no matter where you are energetically with your relationship with money, you get to use these exercises and apply them again to help you move through that next threshold with a lot more ease and grace and joy. And the thing is, like I said, this stuff never really goes away, but if you are in this process where you just know that this is what you have to do, this is the stuff you need to look at, it becomes less painful. It becomes just something that you do. It's part of the flow of your process of becoming more, of accessing more. And it becomes a little more normalized so that the subconscious can really understand that this is our new normal of shifting this every time we've got stuff that comes up that's providing resistance, stuff that runs counter to what you're asking for. It just becomes your new program of working on this stuff. And it's really powerful when you create these shifts. I wish I could find the words to tell you or find a way to relate to you emotionally how it feels to go from that place, like I said earlier in the call, where it feels like, okay, $2,500 a month, this is awesome. I've made it. I'm making this a thing. This is happening for me. It's my business. I'm doing what I want, and I'm making money at it, and I love what I do, and I love the people I work with, and this is awesome. To going to making $12,000 a month and seeing how much more that has opened up for me in terms of what I see is possible for me to create. How I can step up and serve in greater ways because I'm not so worried and riddled with panic and fear and anxiety about money all the time, that was my normal for many, many years of my life. It was my normal to like have a negative dollar amount in my bank account. It was my normal to constantly be in debt. It was my normal to not be able to pay my credit card bills. It was a normal for me not to be able to pay rent. It was a normal thing for me to have to go to the supermarket and really like down to the penny, like figure out what I could afford on my list. I remember those days very, very clearly. And I remember how that felt. And it's wonderful to be in this place now that not only do I not have to worry about that, but I get to tithe a greater amount of my income to the things that I care about, the charities that I love, to veterans associations, to women's violence centers, including volunteering. There's a women's violence center steps away from where I live. I get to volunteer there once a week. I get to volunteer for hospice and have more time for that. I get to go down to the VFW and bring my dog down there so the vets can play with my doggie and they can just feel better for an afternoon because I have time to do that. Because I'm not sitting at my desk and trying to hustle and pulling my hair out and trying to figure out where my next clients are coming from. I have more money to figure out now. Okay, great, Heal, Awake, and Align Bootcamp. It's so awesome. I'm going to make a retreat for it next year. By the way, Angela and Sarah, if you're still here, that's coming next summer, maybe even next fall. I haven't decided yet. But there's going to be a Heal, Awake, and Align Bootcamp retreat. It may be here in Tahoe just because I love Tahoe so much. And I'm so familiar with this place. But that's something that a year ago I wouldn't even thought about. Okay? Start thinking about what your money story right now is costing you. And then think about what an investment of $299 would be weighed against that. Because that's how much the 75-minute session is, with all the PDF exercises that go along with it. And we go right to work, ladies. I am all business when I do this stuff because I am so passionate about helping you shift this stuff, because I know some of you who are watching, I know how powerful you are as healers. I know how incredible your gift is to the world. And you not having enough money is one of those things that keeps us rooted into 3D, first of all. But it also keeps you from stepping up and serving more people who need you. And I can't tell you how passionate I am about that. So the offer's on the table. There it is. You have to book this before the 28th in order to get it. Those of you who are in Heal, Awaken, Align Bootcamp, you're already going to get some of this in the next 2 days, or the next 2 sessions together. So Monday and Thursday when we meet, because when Heal, Awaken, Align Bootcamp, we meet twice a week. We have 2 support calls every week for 6 weeks. There's an incredible amount of valuable content in this course. And today is the last day for the special offers on Heal, Awaken, Align Bootcamp too. Ladies, thank you for watching. I hope that I lifted you up. I hope that I pumped you up a little bit to understand just how powerful you are and how much we need you. And I hope this message finds you with love and light and brings you some peace today. All right, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.